Are you and your husband just not on the same page when it comes to sexual frequency? As a Christian sex therapist, one of the most common complaints I have that comes into my office is that of sexual frequency differences. Most often it's my husband wants sex all the time and I don't. That's usually what's coming in. So in this video, we are going to explore possible causes of low sexual desire, but also the differences between male and female. Keep on watching. Hey online family, if you're new here, we talk about all things faith, hope, and intimacy on our channel. I'm Amanda, a licensed marriage and family therapist and also a certified Christian sex therapist. And if you're interested in increasing your faith, practical help through life's messiness, but also ultimately living the life God created you for, then please subscribe and also make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss anything. I know this can be a touchy topic for so many of you, especially if this is an area of tension in your marriage. In this video, I'm going to cover 5 points to consider if you think you might have low sexual desire. I am going to be covering them from Joyce Penner's new book, Enjoy. I love her, she is amazing, and this book is really wonderful resource for any ladies out there. So I'm going to leave it in the description down below if you want to check it out. I'm sure it feels like a negative sometimes if you feel that your husband wants sex all the time and you're not interested, but men are actually built differently. God designed them to want to be intimate with you, that He has designed them to want your attention and affection, and honestly, this is something you want. You want your husband to desire you, to think that your body is beautiful, to love you, to want to connect with you. These are all positive things. This is something that you truly do want unless there's extenuating circumstances. Number 1, are you having duty sex? So, what is duty sex? Unfortunately, a lot of you know all too well exactly what duty sex is. This is sex where you feel guilty or feel pressured and somewhat forced into having sex. This is very common as well in the Christian community. This is something that is unfortunate because truthfully, nobody really likes duty sex. Your husband may be okay with it, but this is not something that he truly loves, not compared to intimacy with you that you're actually present for and you actually want to be a part of. Often women will have duty sex to really hopefully avoid the tension they feel in their marriage. So perhaps if I have sex with my husband now, then he won't be irritated later. That's kind of the idea. Unfortunately, if you're feeling this pressure, this can actually cause your desire to be blocked. So this keeps the cycle going. So if you feel that pressure, you're actually not going to desire your husband nearly as often, which continues to have more duty sex. And in that sense, you're really avoiding the chance of being able to have really intimate and connecting sex that you both really desire. Also, it's important to note that if your husband's self-worth depends on your interest in him sexually, and that's where he puts his value, unfortunately, you're heading down a really bad road. This can actually really lead to a lot of frustration where you feel like it's never enough, that you, no matter what, no matter how often you have sex, that it's just never enough for him, because the truth is you can't really fulfill his self-worth. That's not what sex is about. If this type of pressure continues, it will continue with time to diminish until all that's left between the two of you is bitterness and resentment, because that's not what sex is about. Sex is not about just keeping your husband happy. Sex is about sharing yourself openly and being in a place of mutual enjoyment for both you and the husband. Sex is not just for one partner, it's for both of you. If this type of pressure continues down this road, this can actually lead to more sexual anorexia, which means no one's really having sex very often at all. And this is not good for either of you. I know some of you are like, okay, so does that mean that I only have sex with my husband when I feel like it? Because, well, that may not be very often at all. Or can I just actually have sex when I'm not in the mood? Well, the answer is yeah, you can actually make that choice. For a lot of women, our desire is actually reciprocal, which basically that means that you may not have your desire on your own, but after being touched and connecting with your husband, desire may follow. So being able to initiate, as long as it's a choice, it's something you want to do, that you are willing to be with your husband, you made the decision, no bitterness, no yuckiness, nothing negative, then it's something that you absolutely can choose to do. So a way they taught reciprocal desire in class that I really liked and made a lot of sense to me was we were in the classroom and they said, how many of you would like chocolate? So, you know, a lot of us are raising our hands, at least most of us. Then they said, how many of you were actually thinking about chocolate? Maybe like one person raised their hand out of the class. So this was a demonstration in regards to You weren't thinking about chocolate, but you were willing and interested once it was offered. So this is something that is kind of similar in regards to reciprocal desire and making that decision. It wasn't something you were thinking about, but now that you offered, yeah, I could go for sex, that sounds nice. So it's a good way of kind of just remembering a little bit in regards to, it doesn't always have to be something you were thinking about at the moment for you to actually have desire to follow later. So there are 3 D's of sexual desire. The first is, well, desire. So this is actually the fantastic one. This is everything's aligned, you are feeling in the mood, you have your own desire, nobody needs to help you get desire, and that's wonderful. That's really great when that happens. The next D is duty sex. This is the one we're talking about. That is a negative. This is where there is pressure, demand, you feel guilty if you don't, you feel obligated. In general, you just don't want to have sex, and yet you're doing it out of a service, out of a duty. So again, that's something that you want to avoid. The third D is decision. So this is one that was a little bit more similar to the reciprocal desire, where you are deciding that you could be interested, you would be willing, you would like to be connected with your husband in that way. So those are the 3 Ds to consider. Number 2, how is your energy level? Are you using up all your energy elsewhere? So basically, are you stressed? Are you overwhelmed? Are you exhausted, burnt out? If you're feeling all these things, it's not really a surprise that you're not interested in going and spending time in the bedroom. If you are spending all your energy on your job, your kids, anything that's just taking time and demand from you, it's no surprise there's not really much left to put into your sexual relationship. So it's really important to consider things that really help give you self-care. So that may be finding a way to kind of get a break, or take a little mini day, get some babysitters, or just be able to take some naps, take a rest, make sure you're getting enough sleep. Find ways that you really can unwind. See if your husband will take the kids for a little while, just to allow you some time to really rest and rejuvenate. And this is going to be able to help you to have energy to be interested in being in the bedroom. I know for some of you, taking time out to really basically have self-care feels somewhat selfish, but that's not the case. If you take out time for yourself, your children win, your husband wins, it's so much better for everyone else. So let's work on removing that guilt and really putting some time in to yourself, being able to take care of yourself so that you have energy left over to give to others. Number 3, are your hormones out of balance? All the effort in the world is not going to matter or do any good for you if your hormones are out of balance. There are so many things that could be affecting your hormones, whether it's simply just your menstrual cycle, birth control, breastfeeding, pregnancy, menopause. Any of these things can really affect you. It plays a huge role in your sexuality. So there are 3 hormones. You have estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. Estrogen is your feel-good, happy hormone. Progesterone is more of your relaxation hormone. And your drive hormone is testosterone. Men are not the only ones who need testosterone. So if you have a feeling that perhaps your hormones are out of balance, going to the doctor and getting a hormone panel is wonderful. So basically you want to also ask them to check out your free testosterone levels. This way they'll be able to see whether or not that's affected, which can definitely affect your sexual drive and your sexual desire. So for example, if you have low free testosterone levels, you may also struggle with depression. Perhaps you may also just be completely low on energy. And these are things that perhaps the doctor can help you with. You might need something like a testosterone cream or something like that. But it's also another thing to note that's really important is to make sure that your husband really understands your hormonal fluctuations through your cycle, and is be able to just to have compassion in regards to understanding that these things are real, these are important, and they do affect women. Number 4, how are your expectations? Are you waiting to feel feelings just like you did when everything was new and fresh, or perhaps like the romantic comedies? Those are my favorite, so I do get it. But sex doesn't always have to be fireworks. You actually need to make that shift from expecting and wanting things to be new and fresh, just like you were when you were dating, into more of a longer, connected, intimate, really a deeper connection than what you could have possibly had at that time. So when you're shifting that focus, you might have, desire for you may look more like wanting your husband through wanting to cuddle or just to be close. And that closeness may eventually lead to wanting to be more sexual or wanting to have arousal once you've started to be close, things like that. But just being able to truly embrace the differences between male and female and really letting yourself not put such high and more heavy expectations on your husband, but to ultimately be able to really just enjoy and embrace those differences and really focus on trying to build a deeper connection. Number 5. Well, number 5 actually isn't a point as much as this. I want to take the time to honor how complex the issue really is. I can't possibly cover the unique circumstance that you specifically are having or your unique marriage exactly. We do have a video that I think will be really helpful for you to check out. It should be somewhere linked below. Sexual problems in relationships. I think this is something that could help give you a little bit more direction and pointers as well. I hope this video helped, and if you have an issue or topic that you'd like for me to dive deeper into, please leave a comment below and I'll make sure to connect back with you. Make sure you come back next week. Andrew and I have a new video coming out on even more Christian sex tips. It's a good one and it'll definitely help you and your husband. While you wait, also make sure you check out somewhere down the link below our Christian Intimacy in Marriage, our 4-part video series on lovemaking. It's a great one. I think you'll enjoy that too if you haven't already seen it. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And as always, subscribe for more weekly influential encouragement and inspiration. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!